there's a lot of different practical laws over here. One is you have to get married and have children. That flows from being fruitful and multiplying. You're not allowed to murder somebody because that flows from the knowing that you're created in God Almighty's divine image. You cannot spill and destroy. That's what the verse says. Do not kill another person in Genesis, because, and we learn next week's Torah portion, he's created in God Almighty's divine image. So you can't kill another human being. That's one of the fundamental laws that applies to every single human being, the law against murder. Okay, so these are practical laws that flow from this. But two additional practical laws that we must address tonight is one is it says in the Torah that if a person comes to kill you, you must rise up to kill him first. That's it. That's the end of the discussion. You don't have to go and make meetings. You don't have to, Rebbe says you don't have to go to the United Nations, ask permission first. You have to rise up if someone's coming to kill you. And the Rebbe says something incredible, because everything is about the well-being of others. The Rebbe says standing up, getting up early in the morning to go to kill the other person first will actually lead to the result that you don't actually have to kill him. We're not looking for vengeance over here. The fact that he prepared to kill us doesn't mean we have to kill him if we see that he changes his mind and he backs down. So actually the life of the attacker is saved from the fact that you put up a strong defense. But in addition, in Shulchan Aruch, in the Code of Jewish law, in the laws of Shabbos and Siman Shin Chav Tes, it says clearly that in a case where enemy forces are preparing to come against border towns of the Jewish communities, even to merely take straw, which they're going to use for their animals and whatever. And even if you have merely a doubt that what their intentions are, you have a commandment to go and make war preemptive strike against them, including taking up weapons on the Holy Sabbath, on Shabbos, and making a preemptive strike against those people who are preparing to come against you. Because if they capture the border towns, then the entire population will be open and vulnerable to being eliminated, God forbid. So therefore, even on the Holy Sabbath, when we do everything possible not to desecrate it, we are required to take a preemptive strike. So this is the dinim. The dinim are, you have to make a preemptive strike. Now, this is essential to know, because not only does it give us an understanding of what we're required to do now, but we have to understand that if no one else is willing to do it, we can't say, well, they're in charge of those kind of things. And I'm a Torah scholar, I'm a businessman, I'm a teacher. We got people here with many different skills. One writes music over here, I get to see. We got many talented people. I'm a housewife. All these things are someone else's responsibility. The Torah doesn't tell us that we're exempted from this because there's a Department of Defense or a Department of Security over there. Not only that, but this is why you have to learn Torah. And you have to learn it inside, because, and if we had more time, we'd go through all these sources tonight. But if you go into that halacha, that din, that you must take up weapons preemptively against an enemy on Shabbos, when even if it's doubtful what his real intentions are, but you hear that he's preparing to come to take your straw from a border city, that law, my friends, applies in every country and every place in the world. That establishment of what the Torah law is, what occurred in Babylon. While the Jewish people were exiled in Babylon, the definition of that in the form that we have in the Talmud was actually in exile. Okay, so this is another important piece of information. This is not merely for you who are in the Holy Land to realize you have this responsibility. You in Chicago and Australia, you have a responsibility, particularly when some guy in Qatar is making threatening statements against the Jewish people. We're going to discuss that, what the significance of that is, if anything, and what we should do about it. But if you have a concern that there are people preparing to attack your community, you have to go and make a preemptive strike against them, regardless of what the official security forces claim they are in top of and what they know, and they have credible threats, no credible threats. It's not part of your calculations. You have to do your own assessment you have to collect your own information, and you have to take your own action. That is the code of Jewish law. And obviously, any sensible human being, even someone who's not Jewish, would take that as a divine directive on how to conduct themselves. They would excuse themselves from their prayer services and their Shabbos meal, and any human being who's going to do this and say, excuse me, my dear, excuse me, Chola, I have to go and make a preemptive strike against those that are planning against their community. And if the officials that you've elected and you're paying for are not doing that, you have an obligation to do it. So we're going to see when we get to the Metzias Devarim, to the facts on the ground, that when you see a history of repeated defeats and refusal and failure of commanders that are ostensibly charged with the safety and well-being of the Jews and the Arabs that live under their responsibility, that they consistently fail to protect the people, as we're going to see the horrifying details of that in a moment, which goes way beyond merely what happened in the last few days, that we have to see that the Torah is telling us that we have to take action. And the action cannot be delegated to anybody else. And especially if someone is not following the delegation that was wrongfully given to them, that delegation must be withdrawn and new action has to be taken. Because, my friends, there is no alternative. It says clearly, if you don't defend the border towns, the entire population will become open. May God protect us and everybody in every country for what is so obvious. The Torah doesn't talk about mysterious things. It's talking about simple, plain facts of life, and any human being who values the fact that he and his family is created in God Almighty's divine image and values the life that he's responsible for maintaining and expanding will take action.